Imagine the intense and unforgiving heat of the midday sun over ancient Egypt. The sky is a flawless and brutal blue, while the sand of the desert burns like fire. In the safety of the temples, there is a smell of incense mixed with a palpable sense of fear. The air is thick with a single word whispered by priests and commoners alike. Mistress of Dread. This is not a description of a monster, but of a goddess. Specifically, she is Sekhmet, the lioness goddess of war, pestilence, and destruction. To understand ancient Egypt, you cannot merely understand the calm and orderly gods. You must understand the destructive and chaotic force that guaranteed that order. Sekhmet, whose name literally translates to the powerful one, was the primal force that could single-handedly bring humanity to its knees. This is the dramatic story of a goddess created as a tool of annihilation, whose divine purpose was to kill every last human being, and the clever, desperate trick the other gods had to invent to stop her. Our story begins in an age before kings, when gods walked openly on earth. The creator god, Ra, the divine embodiment of the sun, was now an old man. He had ruled the world for an eternity, but as his physical form weakened, his subjects grew bold. They stopped offering him prayers. They started conspiring against him, whispering in dark corners and plotting rebellion. Ra, though elderly, was a god. He sensed their plot and grew furious. According to ancient texts like the Book of the Heavenly Cow, Ra called a secret council of the oldest gods, away from the prying eyes of men. Ra told them to look toward the earth because his children had grown wicked and plotted against his throne. He had created them from his own eye, but now he felt he must destroy them. The gathered gods agreed that humanity was broken. The eldest gods advised Ra to unleash the eye that had created them. Ra agreed, and it was in that moment of absolute divine wrath that Sekhmet was born. She was not born as an infant, but fully formed. A towering and athletic woman with the ferocious head of a man-eating lioness, crowned with the glowing solar disk of her father, Ra. When she took her first breath, her roar shattered the peace of the heavenly realm. She was the absolute wrath of the sun. Ra gave her one single command to punish those who plotted against him. With a ferocity never before seen, Sekhmet descended from the heavens. She did not start with warnings or selective strikes. She began a systematic and unrelenting slaughter. Her very breath was said to be the source of the desert winds, scorching the land. Wherever she walked, the plague followed in her wake. She did not distinguish between the guilty plotting rebels and the innocent. She slaughtered everyone. The ancient writings describe the scene with gruesome detail. She hunted men through the cities and into the deserts, enjoying the chase and relishing the fear. She was unstoppable. The streets of Egyptian cities ran with rivers of blood. At first, Ra watched her work with satisfaction. His rebellious children were being properly punished. But as the days turned into weeks, Sekhmet's slaughter did not slow down. She had completed her original mission. The rebels were long dead. Yet, Sekhmet continued, she had developed a profound and terrible love for the taste of human blood. She was no longer a precise tool of divine judgment. She had become a force of total and unchecked destruction. Ra looked down and was horrified. At this rate, Sekhmet would not just punish the wicked, she would wipe humanity entirely from the face of the earth. If humanity died, there would be no one left to give Ra offerings, no one to sustain the divine order of Ma'at, which was the balance of the universe. Ra loved his creation, and he realized he had unleashed a monster that he could not simply recall with a command. Sekhmet was too deep into her bloodlust to listen to her father. Ra knew he had to stop her, but how? He could not fight her directly. She was his own unstoppable force. The other gods were too terrified to approach her. This is where, according to Egyptian mythology, a plan was devised not of brute force, but of extreme and desperate cunning. Ra commanded his swiftest messengers to gather a massive amount of special red pigment from the fields of Elephantine. He then ordered his high priests and brewers in the temple to brew an ocean of strong barley beer. Thousands of giant vats of it were prepared. Working through the night, the priests mixed the blood-red pigment into the beer, flavouring it with local pomegranates. By dawn, they had created an ocean of beer that looked, smelled, and, to a blood-drunk goddess, tasted exactly like fresh human blood. Ra and the other gods then moved to the place where Sekhmet was sleeping, preparing for her final day of hunting. Working under the cover of darkness, they poured the thousands of vats of red beer directly onto the fields where she would awake, flooding them completely. The beer covered the ground, 3 palms deep, in every direction. When Sekhmet awoke at sunrise, ready to finish her annihilation, she saw the fields flooded in red. Her heart leapt with joyful ferocity. She truly believed that this massive flood was the river of blood from her slaughter of the previous night. Mistaking this massive ocean of intoxicating beer for her favoured drink, she did not wait. Sekhmet lowered her lioness face to the ground and began to drink. She drank with the desperate and ferocious thirst of a killer who has finally found her ultimate prize. She drank and drank, laughing with delight. But as she consumed more of the beer, she became intoxicated. Her ferocious movements slowed. Her laughter turned from terrifying to clumsy. Her deadly claws retracted. According to the myths, the powerful one fell into a drunken stupor, eventually curling up and sleeping a peaceful and dreamless sleep that lasted for days. Humanity was saved by a brewery. When she finally awoke, the intense bloodlust had faded. She was no longer the engine of total annihilation. Ra, seeing his opportunity, called her by a new name, Hathor. This other aspect of her personality, the graceful, gentle, and beautiful goddess of music, love, and dance, was now restored. For the Egyptians, this myth explained the duality of existence. Sekhmet was Hathor's terrifying mirror image. Within every moment of joy, there is the potential for terrible destruction, and within every destructive force, the seed of balance and order must be found. Sekhmet never truly lost her power. Ancient sources, like those archived by the American Psychological Association when analyzing ancient belief systems, confirm she remained the goddess the Egyptians feared most. She was the one who controlled disease and pestilence. Her priests were not just religious figures. They were also considered advanced physicians because they were the only ones who knew the specific rituals and spells required to soothe her wrath and ask her to recall her demons, which were the diseases that plagued the land. She was the divine engine of natural disaster. The story of Sekhmet is not merely a fairy tale, it is a profound lesson in balance. For the ancient Egyptians, Sekhmet represented the fundamental truth of the universe. Order cannot exist without chaos, and divine love must be balanced by divine wrath. She was the necessary and terrifying fire of the sun that warmed the earth, but could also burn it to ash. Thank you so much for watching this epic journey into the heart of Egyptian mythology. If the story of the Mistress of Dread and the desperate trick that saved humanity gripped you, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and allows us to share these magnificent stories with more viewers who love a good historical mystery. Which part of Sekhmet's myth do you find most fascinating? Was it her terrifying creation from Ra's eye, or the sheer and brutal absurdity of her being tricked by an ocean of beer? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to read your take on this powerful lioness. If you want to keep exploring the darkest and most beautiful corners of human belief and history, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss a new upload. To keep the marathon going, I have picked out this video on the screen right now just for you. Click it and dive into another incredible tale. Until next time, stay curious and keep moving forward.